Right now, the price of tomatoes and tomato products across the country could be on the way up.
This morning, the trade war is now impacting tomatoes. A new policy kicks in today, making way for a 21% price hike on tomato imports.
This was the moment when Donald Trump, without even realizing it, handed Canada the keys to the global economy. While Trump was busy tweeting out slogans of America First, Canada was quietly rewriting the rulebook on trade, energy, and electricity. What looked like just another tariff fight turned into one of the biggest economic victories Canada had seen in decades. The twist: the person leading this comeback wasn't a traditional politician. It was Mark Carney, a strategist, a former central banker, and the rival Trump never saw coming. Carney used strategy, not slogans, to turn the tables. The impact hit hard and fast. Just yesterday, Walmart shocked Wall Street by admitting it had no choice but to raise prices because of Trump's tariffs. Shoppers in the US are now paying more for everyday items, from Coca-Cola and cereal to simple tomatoes. But while American families are paying more, Canada has quietly signed a $12 billion trade deal with Asia, securing markets Trump thought he had locked down. The irony couldn't be sharper. In the same week, Trump doubled tariffs on aluminum to 50%, driving US prices even higher. Canada found a way to turn those very tariffs into profit. Money is now flowing into Canadian markets, while American consumers bear the cost. This story isn't just about trade anymore. It's about power, strategy, and the ego of a man who underestimated his neighbor, only to watch that neighbor flip the script. Who has created his own worst nightmare. Canada, rising strong Canada, has quietly risen in a way that caught Washington completely off guard. For decades, the US was the dominant force, treating Canada like the younger sibling in the relationship. But things are changing fast. In Florida, California, and Texas, millions of pounds of American tomatoes are sitting in warehouses with no buyers. They're not rotting from bad weather, they're just unwanted. Chad Smith, a third-generation farmer in Florida, put it bluntly: "We can't even afford to hire people to pick them anymore. Wages cost more than what we get paid." That's the state of American farming today. Meanwhile, 2,000 kilometers to the north, Canadian greenhouses are glowing with lights around the clock. Crates of fresh tomatoes are being packed and shipped not just locally, but to Tokyo, Dubai, and London, markets that American farmers once dominated. While US produce rots, Canadian farmers are cashing in with lucrative global contracts. The scale of this shift feels almost unreal. Think of the scene in Avengers when Thanos snapped his fingers and half the world vanished. That's exactly what Trump's tariff war has done to America's farming and manufacturing sectors. And the damage doesn't stop there. Coca-Cola's CEO has openly criticized Trump's 50% aluminum tariff, calling it such a burden that the company may abandon aluminum cans altogether and switch back to plastic bottles. The very packaging environmental groups have fought against for decades. The irony is brutal. While Coca-Cola scrambles to cut costs, Canada's aluminum industry is thriving. Here's why. Nearly half, 44%, of America's aluminum already comes from Canada. Trump thought tariffs would force companies to buy American aluminum. But the truth is, the US barely has an aluminum industry left. Most smelters shut down years ago because they were too expensive to run, and even if every plant reopened tomorrow, they still couldn't meet America's demand. Instead of weakening Canada, Trump handed it near-monopoly power over US aluminum supply. And at the center of this turnaround stands one man, Mark Carney. The only person in history to lead two G7 central banks, Carney guided Canada through the 2008 financial crisis and helped stabilize the UK during Brexit. Now, he's orchestrating an economic counteroffensive unlike anything the United States has ever seen. While Trump tweets, Carney acts. While Washington argues, Ottawa signs deals. And the results have been ruthless. Within just 90 days of Trump's tariff hikes, Canada had secured over $47 billion in new trade value. Japan signed long-term energy contracts. South Korea locked in Canadian nickel for electric vehicle batteries. The European Union finalized a minerals agreement that cut American suppliers out entirely. None of this was an accident. These weren't random deals. This was deliberate strategy, Canada stepping into markets that America abandoned. And it's working. Where trust in the US has collapsed, Trump's fatal miscalculation. Donald Trump has failed to grasp a basic truth about today's global economy. In a world as deeply interconnected as ours, a trade war doesn't just hurt your opponent. It creates opportunities for everyone else. Mark Carney understood this from the very beginning. Back in March, while Trump was threatening sweeping tariffs, Carney was already on planes to Tokyo and Seoul. While Washington was busy undermining its own alliances, Canadian diplomacy was quietly locking in new partnerships. Carney's genius is simple. He positioned Canada as the stable alternative to America's chaos. A country that honors its promises, delivers on time, and doesn't let Twitter outbursts shape national policy. The result? Billions of dollars in redirected trade. Canadian resources flowing into new markets. And US allies realizing something they never dared to consider before. They can live without Washington. Take tomatoes. In the US, farmers face labor shortages, outdated equipment, and unpredictable weather. But in Canada, farming looks like something from science fiction. Massive climate-controlled greenhouses, year-round cultivation, and nutrient formulas fine-tuned to perfection. The tomatoes that roll out of Toronto or Montreal are identical, glossy, and consistent, whether they're bound for Dubai or Tokyo. Buyers love them. A Japanese supermarket executive said it best. Canadian tomatoes always arrive on time. The quality is consistent. The packaging is standardized. With American produce, you never know what you'll get. That's where Trump's tariff war transforms from a mistake into a disaster. And it's not just tomatoes. It's aluminum, lumber, oil, canola. You name it. Even Walmart's CEO, Doug McMillon, has admitted that tariffs are driving prices higher week after week. Ordinary American families are paying more for groceries, drinks, and household goods. The very tariffs that were supposed to make America great again are instead making life in the US more expensive than ever. Meanwhile, Canada is signing contracts one after another. Deals that would have seemed like fantasies just 5 years ago are now reality. Long-term supply agreements with Europe, Asia, and even Mexico, America's closest trade partner, are bypassing US exporters and flowing north instead. Trump's greatest blind spot is this. Global trade is built on trust. Buyers want stability. If you're in Stockholm signing a multi-million-dollar order, do you want a supplier who changes the rules overnight because of a 3 a.m. tweet? Or do you want a partner who delivers every single time? Canada delivers. America, under Trump, does not. This is why leaders pick up the phone when Carney calls. He has spent decades building personal networks with central bankers, trade ministers, and CEOs worldwide. When he says Canada can meet their needs, they believe him. When Trump threatens them with tariffs, they hang up and call Ottawa instead. What's unfolding isn't just a trade quarrel. It's a transformation of the global economic order. For 75 years, America was the anchor of world trade, stable, reliable, trusted. Now Trump is tearing that reputation apart, one tariff at a time. The numbers tell the story. Japan just signed a $4.2 billion nickel contract with Canada. The European Union finalized a $12 billion trade package in a single week. Even Mexico is redirecting supply chains away from the US and toward Canada. Trump thinks he's making America stronger. In reality, he's teaching the world how to move on without it. Every tariff is a free advertisement for Canada, a signal that Ottawa is the safer bet. And Carney is capitalizing. When Trump threatened Mexican tomatoes, Canadian greenhouses ramped up production. When Trump hit Chinese aluminum, Canadian smelters sold more to Asia. For every move Trump makes, Carney is 3 steps ahead, building lasting trade networks while the White House chases short-term political wins. This isn't just about economics. It's about power. America's allies are slowly, quietly shifting their trust, their contracts, and their future to Canada. The more unpredictable Washington becomes, the more Ottawa looks like the stable center of the global economy. And that's the real danger for America. Trump's tariffs aren't just failing. They're accelerating a transfer of global influence. From tomatoes to aluminum, from nickel to renewable energy minerals, the balance is tipping. Ottawa is rising. Washington is losing ground. Mark Carney isn't shouting on social media. He's shaping the future. One deal, one contract, one alliance at a time. If Trump has handed Canada the keys to global power by accident, then we are watching history unfold in real time.